You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
Welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with Elaina Love. Am I saying that properly?
Sure.
Now, your last name is Love. Is that fake or is that your real last name?
It's my legal last name.
So, professionally, what do you do? Tell me it has to do with something with inspiring others with a last name like that.
Yeah, actually for 21 years I've owned my own business called Pure Joy Planet, and I help other people to get healthy through eating a conscious healthy diet and also to choose healthy ways of living their life via meditation, movement, conscious language, and just upgrading their thoughts and how they look at the planet.
Do you see it more as a mental kind of health, or do you see it more as like you want to deal more with physical? Because I come from a background of going to the gym every single day for 7 years. So I take physical fitness pretty seriously when it comes to my diet. And a lot of like nutrition aspects are actually linked to, how you feel throughout the day. You eat like crap, you're going to feel like crap.
I 100% agree with you there. And I think so. I started with diet. I was a raw vegan when I got into my business 21 years ago. And I got kind of extreme about it. I got super like cleaned out, did tons of cleanses, got really healthy, like cured my eczema, cured back pain, cured all kinds of hormonal problems, lost a bunch of weight, just started feeling better. But then I got really extreme. So as my business grew, I kind of grew it into more mind, body, spirit because yes, it's super important to eat healthy and not eat crap. It's super important to move. And I go to the gym almost every day or do some kind of movement. But it's also important to get outside, to breathe fresh air, to ground yourself, to do meditation, whether it's even 5 minutes of just being conscious and looking within. And also just how we treat others on the planet. So I think it's the whole package. Like you can start with one thing, but you, as you know, you can become obsessed with just your own physical looks, and that only takes you so far and you stay in your ego. Whereas when you move beyond that and you see how you can be of service in the world, I think that creates a more whole person.
So when did you decide that you needed to make this kind of business or this type of career in your life that really is inspiring of helping others kind of reach of overall wellness?
Well, in 1997 is when I kind of did my first cleanse, and it was because I had a lot of health challenges. And I just found this book called Cleanse and Purify Thyself. And that book talked about not only cleansing your body, but cleansing your soul and your mind and just releasing past trauma. So as I started to get healthier and cleaner, people around me were really interested in what I was doing. So it became just kind of part of my career path to not just make people food and not just to teach them how to make it, but also to like inspire them in other ways on, like I was talking about, how to like just be a better person in the world.
So what are some benefits like you could give some people out there that are looking to improve their lives?
Well, I would say first to start with looking at what you're putting in your body because our bodies are our temples. And this is the only vehicle that we have to get through this lifetime. If you plan to live to be 80 or 90 years old, you want to live a quality life. So start by just asking yourself, are these food choices serving me and taking me closer to my goal of being a happy, healthy person? Or are they moving me away from my goal? And so start by just looking at maybe your sugar consumption. Are you eating sugar on a daily basis? Do you have to have it? Is it causing you to be sleepy and feel groggy and maybe be irritable with other people? So that's a good place to start, to stop drinking sodas and maybe change out. I don't ever tell people to stop doing stuff. I just say switch sodas for sparkling water, switch ice cream for maybe like a vegan ice cream or something that's sweetened with a coconut sugar versus white sugar. And then start looking at all the other like fried food. Like, can you switch that over to maybe baked goods? And so, like, I would start with someone just slowly, just kind of looking at what's the worst thing that's not serving them is probably things like sugar and fried food. Just start there. And then also just try to get yourself, if you're not someone that feels like you can move a lot, like, oh God, even just walking a mile feels like a lot, just get out in the sunshine in the morning, even if it's just sitting in your backyard or your front yard and looking at the birds and the trees and maybe putting your feet on the grass. Just start with small little things. And then before you know it, you start to feel a little bit better. And then from there, you're like, what else can I do that's healthy? And it just seems like, I'm sure this has happened with you because you said you work out so much. like you start with one thing and then it just becomes easier and easier to start adding more things in.
Going to the gym now is it's like checking your phone first thing in the morning. Like it's just part of my life now. It's I do have a sense of mental kind of health problems when it comes to working out. Just because I took it from a bullying standpoint out of high school when I started going to the gym, and I decided like I can't if I don't go, then then there's something like I have to go. There is no don't go. It's my car breaks down if I'm on the road there. I'm walking to the gym. It's yeah, it goes to ridiculous points where like there's eating times, there's all these different things, workout times. If anything gets in kind of the scenario of that, I get all freaky deaky a little bit. I don't tend to go out to eat because I ended my calorie restrictions and all this stuff. It's something I've been learning to get a little bit better with as the years have progressed, and I realize working out every day for 2 to 3 hours. Going on 7 years now, not missing a single day. I mean, I've been in the middle of a snowstorm where the giant trucks on the road they're supposed to be plowing the snow are like, is that a guy in a green Kia going to the gym right now? And it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I'm pumped. Let's go.
Oh,
Let's go. And it's that's the definition of a gym rat. But I've taken that aspect in my life because I realized I put my mind to something and say, I'm never going to not do it. And I was able to accomplish so much. And I see people at the gym work out and feel like they're not getting any progress after the first week. And I tell them, like, I've been doing this shit for every day for going on I don't know how many years now. It's not easy. Okay. There are times I wake up and I wonder why my leg just popped out of place. It's because your body's not having a chance to have a recovery day. My rest day is burning 1,800 calories on the treadmill. If I eat a French fry, I'm burning a crap ton of calories on the treadmill. If I have a lazy day, I'm doing that. I tell them it's all about physical fitness and mental fitness. My mental capacity, I feel a stress release when I pick up those weights and I start moving them. I feel like every problem of the day is gone in those 2 hours. I put my phone on do not disturb. I load up a podcast and I just start working out, and I feel the tension, the oxidation from it. And then you want to fuel your body with foods too to keep it going. That's a big aspect no one truly puts in their mind. And a lot of people think, oh, if I have to get better, I have to go to the gym. You don't.
well, the only thing I would ask you about that, like I know working out is important, but you don't take like a Sunday or one rest day a week to just let your body recover. Now, well,
No.
so why do you think that is?
A lot of people don't believe me when I say I don't take a rest day, but if you talk to my manager at my gym, like I'm there every single day. I don't take one because I feel like if I don't work out, I'm going to lose all my progress, which is obviously false. I
Yeah.
could easily take the time off and day off, but I just feel it's weird. It's like brushing your teeth in the morning or doing something like it's part of your habit and you get stuck on habits. I think a lot of the time, like I could have a worse one, especially being 21 years old in the area I'm in. A lot of people are uh, drug addicts or alcoholics. I just chose to fuel mine. Like I see alcohol, I see calories. I don't even see food as food anymore. Everything's got a number to it. And I tell people like, cause they ask my advice, like, dude, how do you get a six pack? I'm like, I can tell you what works for me. I can tell you how I can't make certain plans. I can't go travel because I restrict myself to not having the option of working out. Like if I don't have that option, I'm not happy. And I tell them, I was like, it's as much as working on your mental health as much as your physical health. Now, I've slowly became overstepping barriers, being body dysmorphic, just coming over those boundaries, which I pulled out of from bullying. Like I'll be personal about it. I'm more than open. And I tell people, I was like, if you're going to go to the gym for yourself. Do it because you realize you want to change the way you feel about the way you feel every day, like your body. Don't take it because someone made fun of you. And they say, why? And I say, because that's the wrong fuel for the fire. I built my standing on a wrong fuel for the fire. I built it on a spite for the people. And then those people now messaging me drunk because once you get out of high school, your body does not look the same. It adds on like 10 pounds from the sports you play. And they're all like, I'm sad with my life. I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry I picked on you. I'm like, dude, man, you want to go and better your life? Come to my gym. I'll give you some strategies or some workouts you could do that could help you get to that area. I helped my one buddy lose 80 something pounds and he
Wow.
feels whipped. His was a diet thing. He's Italian. So first thing I thought was stop eating pasta.
Yep.
And he was like, okay. And he stopped there for like 2 weeks and lost like an incredible amount of weight and then kept it going and got to the progress he got to. But
Well, that's
it, uh,
amazing. You're
uh,
helping so many people.
yeah, I think a lot of people, we all think the same. The reason I started this podcast was we live on this giant chunk of rock together. Okay. We don't understand anything about one another anymore. We don't tend to take an hour or just take 45 minutes just to be able to talk to someone and sit down with them and get their story, get their tale, get their experience. That's going to save someone's life, maybe, or maybe someone's going to listen to it and be like, it's okay. And then turn it off. But you can impact anybody in the smallest things you consider, but those smallest things are usually pretty big.
I agree. I live in a small-ish town that tends to be growing, but it's in Oregon, and the people here are just really nice. Like they'll stop for you when you're in a crosswalk, even if you haven't started crossing the street. And it's amazing to live in a place where people actually care about each other. And like I always make a point when I'm in a grocery store, anywhere, to make a conversation with the clerk and to always ask them, "How's your day going?" Because I think people forget to do that. They're just so into themselves and like, I need to get out of here and I'm in a rush. And if someone's in front of me in line and they look at me and say, "Oh, I'm sorry because they're taking too long," even if I'm in a hurry, I try and say, "Oh, take your time," because that can make a huge difference in someone's life, just so that you can acknowledge someone, that they're a person too and they've got their own things going on. It's not just about you.
Yeah, I think, like, especially when it comes to the grocery store thing, I am at fault at the same time as probably much as anybody else out there for getting a little stressed out in line, especially when it says 12 items or less and you're popping in with 40.
Yeah, yeah, they got way more than 15. Yeah.
I'm like, I did not pass math class with a high grade, but I can tell you right now, you definitely have more than 12 items. But the whole idea is you have to stop yourself in those moments you get frustrated and you get a little tense and you feel like you're going to rush somebody because you don't know what that person's going through in front of you. Like, I went to school for mental health. I went to school to be a psychologist. I wanted to do what with my life, which I thought was helping others in a type of social work, helping kids in scenarios where they didn't have a family to look at, they didn't have friends to look at, they felt like they were alone, you know. And I started realizing that's something I can do with my, I guess, aspiration to help others. But then I realized it could be podcasting, just hearing it out here and doing it this way, a way where I'm not just getting a certain group of people. I'm not getting like limiting to myself just to helping kids, but helping everyone in this a way that I feel like I can do with a podcast. Like any information you're going to give out about what you do, what the passions you aspire for, or just what you want to do in this life is going to help someone out there that's listening.
I agree. And I'm curious as you're saying that because I know there's a lot of people your age and even, high school and in their 20s, like there's a lot of suicide happening, a lot of really depressed people. And like when I was growing up, it wasn't prevalent like that. Like I didn't have anybody in my high school commit suicide and there was no mass shootings. What are your thoughts on that? Like why do you think it's so prevalent
You
now?
know what I really love about this podcast is the fact that usually everyone gives me the answer. Like you kind of analyzed me in a way like a therapist. It was weird, and I was like, I'm feeling it with you. Like you're analyzing me. I was like, I feel like I'm in the hot seat now. No, but I think a lot of what has to do is kind of what I figured out with just talking to. So I've talked to hundreds of people now from all over the globe just about what they think about the world. And we all come to the same conclusion. We're all just walking around with a mask. We're not taking the time to understand one another anymore. We're making judgments. We're, conforming people to certain standards. We're saying, oh, this is what you're supposed to aspire to be, not what you should be. Um, I can tell you from a personal standpoint, being 3% body fat is not a healthy living style. And trying to do that and keep that for so long, it's not fun. I'm cold when it's 90 degrees out. I am a multitude of emotions half the time. It takes a lot to control that. It takes a lot when, it's hard to even look in a mirror. And a lot of people are like, okay, well, you obviously have something wrong in your head. I'm like, I do, but I also can be able to relate to a hell of a lot more people with that experience. I was able to use my experience of how I felt with a transgender person who said that when he looked in the mirror, he didn't like what he saw. And I said, why? He goes, because I was born with the wrong parts. And I said, I get it. I get it when you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see. I see it every day. I don't even take my shirt off. Like just taking my shirt off to get in the shower is a pain in the ass. And I'm like, I've gotten bodybuilding pamphlets from a couple bodybuilders that work out of my gym. Like, dude, you need to go. Like, you need to this. I'm in no way built like giant, huge jack, but I'm pretty physically fit. I'm pretty toned up and ripped. And the whole fact is, I would like to get bigger. I'd like to have more size on me. But the fact is, once I start getting to that point, I don't want to go anymore down that road. I can't even do it. And I think when you come from a standpoint like how I have, and you try and talk to someone who is truly going through something and they don't think anybody can relate to them, you throw that in there, you get a whole curveball of how the way they look at you now.
No, I agree with you. I know exactly what you're saying. I think people like, especially on, you're probably more on Instagram than Facebook, but everybody's just creating their perfect life on there. And, I love how people are talking more about vulnerability these days because, like, if we can't be vulnerable and, like, you just shared, like, yeah, maybe what I'm doing is not 100%, like, I haven't figured out exactly everything. But I think that's where you start with by relating with people. Like, yeah, dude, I've been there too, where I don't want to look in the mirror when I get in the shower, or like I've had past boyfriends body shame me. So no matter how fit I get, I just still feel like
Body
I'm,
shame you for
yeah, like
what?
too fat. And so I think we've all experienced these feelings of never feeling good enough no matter what we do. So I think that's where it starts though, is being able to relate to people. Like relate to people on that level of like, I don't think anybody feels good about themselves 100% of the time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think of it like, oh, like it is a higher percentage that women suffer more from this type of thing because you guys are more judged on your looks than guys are, specifically, at least in the world today. I just think a lot of what that comes from of people thinking constantly about themselves and then constantly have to pull out the ruler to compare themselves to somebody else. Like, oh, that guy's shredded with a six pack. Oh, well, he has this, he has that. It's like, don't don't look at that. Like I follow real bodybuilders on Instagram, like you said, I do. My generation is more on Instagram, but on there, I follow the real ones, the ones that tell you, like, you see this. This is actually 80% lighting and 20% nutrition. I crack those jokes all the time if I put up a six pack picture. I'm like, you see this? You can get it too. You know how you do it? You stand with your hips forward like this and you show everybody this is how you get the inline picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, the reason why, like, if you go to a competition and one of the things that you learn to kind of do and get into, showing off your physique is the whole standing style. They learn where the lights are pointed at a certain angle to hit their muscles to make them look bigger. It's
Yep.
all a show. I'm
All
like,
light years. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, why do you want to live in a show? And I've talked to, I mean, I'm fascinated with the human mind. It's something boggles me how we have something so close to ourselves and we don't truly know the full capabilities of it, whether it comes from what your interest or creativity stems from, or just the slightest maybe mental disability. And being able to talk to bodybuilders who are older and now developed a mental disability such as body dysmorphia because they're like, oh, I'm not like I used to be. I'm not like this. I'm like this. I'm like shoulda, coulda, woulda. Okay, man. It's something where I can take it in the same standing because you probably look back like, oh my God, I see where my hair is different. You have constantly probably judging thoughts, just like everyone in the world does,
Yes.
and people don't see that.
Yeah, and I think like for me, I'm in my 50s. I don't really think back on my 30s and wish I was 30 because I was a different person when I was 30 and I know a lot more now. Yeah, my is different for sure, but I really try and be in the present moment every day and just be the best I can today because I meet so many people that are like, "Oh, let me go get the old pictures of me." I'm like, "I'm not interested in the old you. Who are you now? Like who are you as a person? I don't really care about your body."
How
You know,
many times have you truly experienced?
feel good. But if you're not a good person, if you're not doing good in the world, if you're not in service, if you're not seeing what you can do to make this place a better place to live, then I'm not really that interested, honestly. Like someone can be perfect in their body, but that doesn't mean they're a good person.
How many times have you truly experienced talking to someone and they pull out an old photo of themselves? Like, this is what I used to look like. This is what it's like. Why are you worried about it?
I actually have had it happen more than once. I go to this place at least once a year. It's like a cleansing place. You just go and you eat healthy food and you fast. And this one woman, the whole week that I would meet her at the pool or I'd see her, she'd go, "Wait, I need to go find an old photo of me." I'm like, "I don't care." And I've just had other people that like want to show me, "Oh, I used to be a model. Let me show you my old pictures of being a model." Or, it's happened to me several times where people want to show me their old pictures. So I
But
think
you're
because
living in the past.
I'm in this mode of being the healthiest I can be. So I think people want to say, "Oh, I'm a good person. Look, I used to look good." And I'm like, "I think you're great now."
Like, you're living in the past. First of all, when you start
Yeah.
reflecting back so hard, it's like you need to understand that this isn't about the past you. This is about the you are now. You can do steps now to change your life instead of just constantly eat like crap and then worry about what you looked like back then. Like, oh, I can't believe I'll never have that again. It's like you have the ability to change that. You understand there's elderly people that can't physically move, that don't like the way their body looks. They can't do anything to change that because of where their body's at now.
Yeah, there's no
So
problem.
you have that. Like, I've seen that in my own grandmother, her that she's seen her body change, and she's like, but she physically can't. She has OCP. She can't breathe. She can't do anything without a freaking little one of those oxygen tanks. And she's like, I wish I could go get healthy again, but I can't. And she can't even stop herself from lifting up the cigarette. So it's a giant. We're all just hypocrites in this world. We choose to, live by a certain standard, act a certain way, play a character in society, but it's not the true us anymore. I always tell people, be as open as you want to be on the podcast. If I have to relate something like my personal experience to get you to open up or get you to get to whatever you need to, or feel like what you want to say, then I'll do it, because I'm not doing anything for anybody out there listening. I'm doing it for myself, also to enrich myself with the fascination of how awesome people are. On a daily basis, I sometimes lose faith of how awesome people are.
You
And
know
I
what?
have,
Yeah.
go
It's
ahead.
easy to forget. I think it's easy to forget, and so I practice gratitude as much as I can. And like when you're talking about your grandma, I just sit here thinking, I'm so grateful that every time I start to get down on myself, I go, okay, my legs work. I can go on a run right now. I have a car. I can drive to the gym. I can, drive and get organic groceries. So I just start thinking about all the things I'm grateful for. It's too easy to go down that rabbit hole of I suck. Like, oh, I didn't do the work I was supposed to do today. I didn't edit that book, or I didn't get the chapter written, or we can beat up on ourselves in any kind of way. But then I just go, okay, what am I grateful for in this moment? And it seems to like kind of take me out of that place of, it's really self pity, isn't it? Whenever we get there, it's like, first world problems, man. Bummer. You weigh 10 extra pounds or something. Like, we just need to look at what we're grateful for and what we do have already.
Yeah, and a lot of people take that the wrong way too. A lot of people take like being grateful for something by comparing themselves to a place that's less fortunate. I'm like, why are we still comparing? Like, you understand, we're doing the same thing in a whole new outlet. I'm like, realize you are Elaina Love, okay? If you're already not calling yourself Dr. Love, then that's the first problem, because that should be the thing. I come from, my parents were diehard Kiss fans, so that's just
Uh-huh. Me
my
too. How old are
yeah.
your parents?
My parents are in their 50s.
Yeah, probably I could be your mom.
Well, both my parents were radio broadcasters. So my dad was like, "You're getting a Kiss toothbrush." I was like, "What?" He's like, "When you brush your teeth, I want you to be serenaded by the songs of the angels." And I was like, "What?" And like I had a rock and roll all night toothbrush, and he would show me all these movies, and he has every single collection possible. And
So
it
you're
was
thinking of that song, Dr. Love, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Dr. Love, yeah. It's good music back in the day. Everything changed. What happened? But I think a lot of what we focus on society today is more about like getting rich quick, getting money, getting all these things out there, not worried about the thing that's most important to us, and that's the body. It's not just the body too; it's the mind. This car we have. I can tell you right now, your diet affects your health 100%. I haven't had red meat in so long. I guarantee to you, when I go and this is a big stride for me, taking a little tiny sliver of pizza, like that much. That eating that, oh, and not going to the gym, oh. But listen, if I eat that or a piece of red meat that size, I won't go to the bathroom for 5 or 6 days. And I was like, why? Is it that? Am I allergic to this type of meat? And one of the bodybuilder guys that works out there said, no, it's because you're throwing diesel engine into basically a Corvette. Like it's not meant to run on that. You've been running on fish and clean salads and all this. He goes, what else do you eat besides salad? I'm like, for breakfast, I have a salad with tuna, some vegetables, and my only guilty pleasure is crushed up cereal. I put that handfuls of that on everything. That sounds disgusting, but dude, I'm telling you, you add honey smacks can change up any salad flavor profile. And like, if I explain it to a bodybuilder, they're just like, "Yeah, I understand." They go, "Because you eat salad so much, you go towards the spices. You go towards cumin. I learned what cumin is. I can make my salad taste like Taco Bell by just dumping cumin on it. A lot of people are like, don't understand that salad doesn't have to be boring. Vegetables don't have to be boring. You just got to find a way that to make it work.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I do for a living. I create recipes. I do recipe development. I teach people how to make salads and all kinds of stuff like it tastes delicious. Because I don't think like I believe you should eat healthy, but I don't think it's about deprivation. As soon as you feel deprived, most people are going to binge because they're
Yeah.
at the other side. And so if you feel like the food you're eating tastes good, like if you're adding your crunched up cereal, like that's keeping you on track versus going, I'm going to go binge on pizza because you know how you're going to feel after you binge on pizza, right?
Yeah, you're telling me I remember I fasted and did a whole bunch of stuff where I restricted myself for 2 days straight, and I only consumed I think 1,000 something calories. I was eating these little bags of Jello that were like 45 calories a bag, so you eat the whole thing and you're full. I was practically living off like the calorie density of maybe an apple a day. Like I was be able to just survive off that. I just wasn't getting hungry. And then in trying to incorporate to having smaller meals, eating 3 to 5 times a day, doing that type of style completely was like really just wrecking havoc. And I've experienced, I mean, I've binge ate before. I've killed 2 boxes of Raisin Bran in one sitting for breakfast. 2 whole boxes of Raisin Bran. I can tell you one thing. I was stopped up for a long time. Like going to the gym and trying to work out like that, you're like, what is going on? You just feel like a giant like bowling ball. Like, but it's stuff you have to overcome. Like people think you're going to ruin every single bit of your progress just by one little treat or one little specialty thing. That's something I still have to get past. I still don't eat ice cream or do any of this stuff because also when I eat it, my body's like, I don't want this. I have not had it in forever and it's not going to act well right now.
Well, that's basically like I love your car analogy because I had a friend that always called me a Ferrari because I'm like, nope, I don't eat that. I don't eat that. I never judged her or I don't tell other people what to eat. But I was like, I know what fuel my body likes, and I'm just like you. I had some gluten-free pizza at a fair 2 weeks ago with my girlfriend who eats everything, and I don't eat grains. I don't eat a lot of food, different things, just because I know what makes me feel good. And I got my neck went out of alignment, my back started hurting. I had to go get a chiropractic adjust, but just to fix from eating that one slice of gluten-free pizza because it caused inflammation and my joints went out of alignment. So I'm really clear on what works for me and what doesn't. And it can become obsessive, but I've tried not to make it that way. And like you're talking about like treats, I feel like every once in a while, I'm not going to have sugar and I'm not going to have grains, but I'll just have, like more of a treat than I would normally have, maybe like chocolate or something, because I don't want to just go through my life being so strict because I think there's more to life than just
Do you ever do you ever have times where you're like, is this really what life's about? Just working out, eating this way? Like, why can't you ever enjoy some of the foods you used to be able to enjoy? I remember being in high school, killing a whole bag of Doritos and drinking 2 liters in one sitting and not gaining a pound.
Yeah, I would eat Doritos like crazy and not gain a pound. But no, because now I walk into a pastry shop with my friends and it looks like plastic to me. It doesn't look like food. I'll drink the coffee. I usually get like hemp milk in it or something. But the food doesn't appeal to me anymore because I know how it's going to make me feel. And so I just eat like healthy life. I'm like you. I like eat salads. I eat fish. I like pasture raised eggs. So I'm going to eat a whole food quality diet, and I don't feel like it's depriving. I feel like it's real food that our ancestors would have eaten. I'm not sitting here counting every calorie. I'm just looking at, is this a real food meal? Is this going to make me feel better or worse? So that's kind of how I judge it. Like, how am I going to feel after I eat it?
Yeah,
And
you're
that's
looking you're looking at the future, more, not really right in the moment. Like a lot of people see food and they start to become like addicted to it. I mean, it's an addiction thing. You can get addicted to anything, and a lot of people think like even in my case, like I'll think like I don't need to eat a whole lot of food, but if I don't eat at correct times, then something's going to go wrong or something's going to go bad. It's like the people that are overweight that live religiously by foods because they found a sense of dopamine release from it, something that gives them that happiness factor. When they eat that, where they're not getting the love in the world today, they get it from eating a bite of pizza or eating something really greasy.
Well, I want to tell you something because I know you're a little bit down on yourself about maybe possibly being a little food obsessed, but the longest lived peoples in the world don't eat a lot of calories. You need enough calories to build muscle and to, survive, but you don't need to overeat. And so I would say like your habit of working out and looking at what you eat is a way better addiction and habit than, like you said, overeating, because that those people feel crappy about themselves every day. They get depressed because of all the sugar, and it causes a lot of mental, confusion because they have brain fog. So I would say, like, even though you're working on perfecting exactly how you want to eat and work out, it's definitely, we all have to have a vice. So yours is working out and being concerned about what you eat. I think it's great because you care about your body.
I think progress comes in strides, taking those small chances, whether it's going to the gym once a week, twice a week, just where you can, where you are trying to make a change will come, but don't expect results so immediately. Like you're not going to get a six pack in the first 2 weeks you go to the gym. You're not going to get a bench press of 350 first 2 weeks of the gym. You're not going to, all this stuff is impossible. Okay. And you can take any supplement under the sun, and I guarantee you it's not going to do anything in 2 weeks. Okay. Those are just things that can do this. It's like taking a pill, it's only offering this is what could happen. It's possible scenarios. It may work for you, it may not. Everybody's different. So you have to find what works for you. And that takes it in the greatest aspect of life. I'd like to go and talk to younger ages about the fact that the world isn't what it's cracked up to be. It's a little raw egg. Okay, there's the sensitive stuff on the inside. That's us. Okay, we're those little people that we can spill out all over the place. I would like to say, like, it's something we need to work on. We need to work on getting through this tough exterior and getting down to the important information inside. We all have value to this earth. We wouldn't be here if we didn't. You know, we all have something that drives us, and whether we choose to pursue it or not is a big factor that we all need to look at.
I love that you're saying that because I think emotions are so important. It's part of our humanity. It's part of what makes us human. And to try and shut that off and just be this hard exterior that pretends like you don't care, I think you're missing the point if you do that. Like, you become unrelatable. Like you're saying, you want to be able to reach out to people. If you just keep putting walls up, like, I'm good. Like every time someone asks you, no, I'm good. Like, anybody ever going to get to know you? How many friends do people have that always just say, I'm good. I don't need, you know. And as soon, like, I know with my mom, when she was always had this tough exterior. She died last year. And when she would become vulnerable with me and share something from the heart, I loved her even more. I was like, oh, my mom's real. She's not always tough. And I think we just miss so much by being that hard exterior and not showing people our true hearts.
Do you think that this is something that the world's going to be able to realize sooner or later? With just people like us that think this, do you think it's going to spread? It's going to kind of infect, or do you think it's going to be people are just going to keep staying closed-minded because society's willingness not to be open to change? It seems like we're too confined to our routines nowadays.
Well, I do have hope because the world is still masculine dominated, male dominated as far as the patriarchy, but it is shifting energetically to be more feminine. Like and I don't mean women, I mean
Sensitive.
feminine. We all have a masculine and feminine. I can be very masculine and driven because I run my own business, and I sometimes have to keep that in check. But the feminine heart, the femininity of us, I think the world is there's a polar shift happening where more of that softness is coming through, and I pray that it is. And I know there's like the leaders and people in, leadership right now in all countries, there's still so much hardness and protection. And I do think that the masses can rise up and we can have something new. And I want to believe that, because if we don't believe it, then it can never happen. Like, I think anything starts from a thought. So if we think that and then we start to act in that way, and just to trust people. Like, I believe, I don't know, are you familiar with law of attraction?
Yeah.
So what you think about, you bring about, or your mindset and your thoughts and what you speak, you attract in the world. I
Yeah.
always get more parking spaces because I believe it, and I attract really beautiful, wonderful, open-hearted people into my life. If someone comes into my life that's not like that, usually they don't last long, and it's not because I tell them to go away. It's just it naturally ebbs and flows. That doesn't work for my life. So I think if we all collectively, the collective consciousness says that once the critical mass is hit, which I believe is around 33%, things can start to shift. It's that 100th monkey. There was, the story of the 100th monkey. There was an island of monkeys, and they were all washing their sweet potatoes. And there was a bunch of islands with a bunch of monkeys, and the scientists were studying them. And as soon as it hit critical mass of 100 monkeys on the one island washing their sweet potatoes before they ate them, all the other islands right at the same time started washing their sweet potatoes of monkeys. It's the consciousness. It's not just about what we say in this moment or what we say to one person. It's a collective consciousness. So podcasts like yours, podcasts like mine, us doing our work in the world, by every time we spread joy to that clerk that's having a bad day, then she smiles at the next person, and then that person doesn't yell at their kid. And I believe that it's a ripple effect, and we're just in this moment we are having a ripple effect on whoever's listening. It might just change their day to hear that how they're thinking about things can change everything.
We're paying it forward, much like when you go to I haven't eaten fast food in years, but when you go to a fast food place and you pay, hey, that's for the person behind me. And the next thing you know, that could stop there or that can continue to go on. It's all about, you're still affecting one person out there. You're still doing something. You can consider that to be the smallest little thing. It doesn't matter. You're still doing a change to the world and a service.
I got to tell you, I was at the other day. I was at a lake, and I went and got a coffee, and it was like $3, and I was drinking the coffee, and because it was self-serve, and I was in line, and the girl in front of me got out of line, and I said, "Weren't you in line before me?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, you go ahead." I said, "I'm drinking my coffee. I'm not worried about it." I said, "In fact, I'll just go over there and sit, and I'll come back later and pay." And then the cashier came up to me and said, "I want you to know that your coffee has been paid for." And I almost started crying. I was like, "Oh my God, that woman was so sweet." And all because I just said, "Oh yeah, you go ahead of me." And I was just kind to her. It wasn't like about, me first. And I didn't expect anything. And she paid for my coffee. And it just made my day. Just a little $3 coffee just totally made my day. So
Tell you,
that can happen on a daily basis if we choose to.
and the more people that choose to think like that, that'll happen. It'll start being more popular. It'll start being the norm. We can change society that way by starting making it the norm. And I think, like, I went into a store and this woman was given this elderly woman who was the cashier the hardest time. Like, I've been sitting here for 2 minutes, and she's like, "I'm the only one at the store. I have to stock this thing." And like in my head, I'm thinking, is your Starbucks Frappuccino Unicorn double pump 3 sprints of mocha espresso that important to the point where you have to berate this woman who's working? And not even the fact that she is of elderly age and she's still busting out a 9 to 5. And I wanted to say it so bad, but I bit my tongue and let her do her thing. She went out the door, went over to Panera Bread, and I looked at Panera Bread staring out the window. I was like, yeah, figures. And I do have a problem with Panera Bread. There's a lot of, I guess you would say, stereotypical white chicks that go to Panera Bread. But I talked to the lady. I was like, "I'm so sorry that happened to you. I hope your day gets better. And here's I want to make it easy as possible. I just have these 2 items. And it's Dollar Tree. You spend $20, you practically robbed the whole store." And she was like, "You're so sweet. You're not like most kids your age." And her saying that hit me so hard in the chest. I was like, felt like someone sucker punched me. I was like, that really plays bad in my age group. And I see it with my friends too. I have been known to be the parent around my friends. Like, they'll be doing something in public and I'll slap them in the back of the head. Like, "What you doing? What you doing? Well, come on. Yeah, we're the same age. Get off the phone for a minute and drive your car." Okay. And they're like, okay. And my buddy's parents have always said to me, like, you're doing my job for me. You're basically acting like his parent. I'm like, cuz he's doing stupid stuff. He's not paying attention. And they asked me how I got to that point. I was like, by talking and being raised by my grandparents and being able to understand what my grandparents consider to be valued, that impacted me. I started realizing hard work is shown when you do hard work, not when you sit on your phone and play Dragon City or whatever Clash of Clans thing you have on your phone. Consider that just to be getting through life. When did that become a thing? Okay. I don't like that. I don't like how people say, I made it, I made it through life. Why did you want to say you made it through life? Don't you want to say you made life? Like you made it. Like this is
Every
it.
day.
You're saying it away like it was a pill you had to swallow or a cherry medicine flavor you had to take. And I was like, it's not what I want. It's not what I've talked to people in retirement homes who's 90 years old, just looking out the window, waiting for the inevitable end. And I'm like, hey man, like tell me your story. And they're like, I've lived a life. Wasn't the one I wanted to do, but I did it. And I was like, that's awesome. But what did you want to do? And then next thing you know, he's going off saying he wanted to create comic books or something like that. I'm like, dude, like, I'm sorry you didn't have that chance to grasp that at your age. Your you had to leave your job. You had to leave all these things because you had to come home and take care of the family when the man of the house died. And this was just a podcast with an elderly gentleman.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I had to take care of my younger siblings and my mom and work 3 jobs and go into the Navy and I was like, you had to do so much, so many things were thrusted upon you that you couldn't stop. There were inevitable problems and you took it and you weren't able to experience your life. And I'm sorry that happened. But he goes, you know what? Those formed me into the man I am today. And hearing that, I was like, I don't know how kids can worry about something like not getting a high score in Flappy Birds. Like when my cousin plays Fortnite or whatever that game is they play now, I'm like, I'm so glad I'm out of this realm now. I'm not into this type of narrative because I'm more open to everything. I like to go out and enjoy a nice coffee, sitting on my porch and listening to the birds chirp.
I love that. You're just in the moment. And I think what happens with a lot of people your age or teenagers, they just get so obsessed with themselves and they just get this tunnel vision. But this guy that you're talking about, he lived a life of service. So on your deathbed, are you going to say, I wish I would have had a better car? Or are you going to say, I wish I would have spent more time with my family and listening to people and being present and being more open hearted and loving? And I don't think a lot of people realize that till it becomes too late. So the fact that you were already aware of this is amazing. And I
Yeah.
have met a lot of people like you that are your age. Not enough, but I have met a lot of people that I feel are trying to make the world a better place.
Yeah, my grandpa always says to me, he's like, you think like an old man. I'm like, well, buddy, my thoughts all came from you, man. So you're calling yourself old. He's a genius, okay? He has this trick, and I swear he's a child when he does this, about with the candy when you go to the movie theaters. He'll buy Juji fruits or those really hard gummy drop candies, the ones that stay in your teeth for hours. And he'll buy those instead of the chocolate things I usually get. Well, he showed me the reason why he did that. And I was like, okay. And this is probably the smartest thing. After all the things I've said about people and how like awesome and wonderful and all these stories and picking up whatever, this is probably the most important thing. He said, pick Juju fruits. I said, why? He said, because that's a snack you will enjoy long after the movie is over. He was right. I was picking that sucker out of my teeth for days. I was like, dude, I still got that Swedish fish in my tooth. He's like, right? He goes, you don't want that box of snow caps now, do you? And I'm like, nah. This is good. And that's just cracking a joke to bring it kind of to a close a little bit. But like, you got to understand, like, we all are experiencing and sharing something. And I keep preaching it over and over again. Everyone's like, all you do is talk about what's wrong in the world. I'm like, because there's so many things going on that we're not aware of. We don't understand, like that person next to us, like my neighbor, professional women's champion arm wrestler. Okay. Hang up the phone right there and figure out, why are we not talking about this? Like, you used to arm wrestle in competitions. Yeah, I used to just train one side of my body. I'm sitting there like, holy crap, the body dysmorphia behind that, and or hypertrophy. And she's like, no, she goes, it was just something I wanted to do. I said, hey, I'm going to be an arm wrestling champion, and I did it. I used to go to Virginia, go win all these tournaments and stuff. And I'm like, that's awesome. And that's something, if I would have said that to my dad when I was a kid, he would have slapped me in the back of the head and said, why don't you go be a roadie for Kiss or something I can get a piece of. And I would have been like, all right. But it's that whole aspect of we're all looking for the, the little humor or mystery that is life, that brings us into conspiracy theories, that brings us into whatever you want to believe, whatever the rabbit hole you choose to go down to. Are those considered rabbit holes, or are they considered something that we're so passionate about we're looking to find every single possible thing about it?
Do you believe in past lives or multiple
I have
lives?
talked to people that are spiritualists, people that are naturalists, people that experienced everybody's experiences with everything. And I can tell you, I don't truly know because I've never experienced it myself. I like to think I came from the guy that made Raisin Bran, but I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Well, the reason I asked that is because you said like you're an old soul. So sometimes I experience people that are in young bodies, but they feel like they're my age, or like I can have conversations with them. And I just think that we come in with an agenda. Like, every lifetime we get to choose not everything that we do, but like what is my purpose? And then when we figure that out, then life really starts to get interesting.
Yeah, I remember I was just going to do podcasting as a hobby and then starting to talk to other people and people that are benefiting and profiting off of this. I'm like, I don't want to profit off this. I just want to be able to live. I want to be able to do this for a living, be able to talk to people and be able to just hear people's stories and experiences. Because the only thing I'm doing is I'm enriching my own life. Knowledge is power, whether you choose good knowledge or bad knowledge. You can take it in both strides, but being able to talk to others, I'm enriching myself with what the world has to offer, a place I might not be able to go visit, a woman that might be Muslim that shares a type of thing from her country that I'll never be able to get to understand because I'm not a woman and I'm not Muslim and I'm not from that country. Being able to hear these things, you can start to relate more to other people and use it in other conversations that help you kind of realize what everybody's going through, because a lot of the stuff that I'm going through can be similar to stuff that you go through, but very, very small pieces. And I think we're all puzzle pieces trying to fit into one giant picture. And what's the big picture? We're never truly probably going to know the answer to. But, if we're just going to sit there and not want to be fitting into the giant picture, then we're not truly being beneficial to anybody. We're just being a detriment to ourselves and others.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is just to show up for life. If you want to stay in your house and be a hermit and never contribute, your life is not going to be very interesting. But if you just show up and keep showing up, and you get knocked down and you just get back up and show up again, and like, how can I serve? And take it off of yourself. Take it off of like, oh, poor me, and put it on. All right, that happened. What did I learn from it? And how can I help other people by what I learned? And I think in a nutshell, that's what we're all here doing. Just big, one day at a time. Just keep showing up. Be present.
I appreciate you taking this time to get on my podcast and kind of just talk to me. And I was just so happy to hear your experience and hear like just some of your thoughts on what the world's coming to. Is there anything anybody want to look you up and find you on anything, or kind of get your book out there too?
Yeah, my website is purejoyplanet.com. And that's got my podcast link. It's got free recipes. It's got courses. It's got my books on it and products that I sell on my store. So you can find everything about me there, even if it's linked to my Facebook page or my Instagram page.
Thank you so much for your being on my podcast, Elena. And I'm gonna let you know, like, everything you're doing with Pure Joy, all this stuff, it's amazing, because someone out there is going to be looking for that. Someone's going to be out there that's going to benefit from that. And I'm really glad you're out there trying to promote physical and also mental kind of relaxation and overall kind of a stimulus to really be able to kind of cope with a lot of the problems that we're facing today.
Well, I think you're doing great work in the world. And thank you so much for having me on.
Good. It was great talking to you, Elena.
You too.